What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name is Owie, and today I got my co-host Dustin. He's with me today, and we're going to be talking Christmas movies. Any Christmas movie, even if it has like a little gimmick, action, horror, drama, whatever. If it's in Christmas, you can put it on this list. I got no rules, so we're going to be doing our top five of our personal favorites. I mean, there's so many classics out there. Home Alone, the National Lampoon, Miracle on 34th Street. If you consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, you got that too. So I'm pretty sure your list and my list are going to be different than maybe the traditional like best Christmas movie lists, because there's some movies that are might not be considered in the norm or in the the popular prestigious list of Christmas movies, right?
Yeah, I just saw when we talked about this, I was the new list from Variety came out, the top 10 and all stuff. And I was looking at it, I'm going, what would be our top 10? And it was like, let's just go to straight of five and all that stuff. And I can respect their list, but I think our list is a little bit more personal, just like everybody else. I mean, Christmas movies are so personal. So I think there's gonna be a pretty cool list to figure it out.
Yeah. And there's our son that you and I agree with, that you kind of just it wouldn't feel right if you didn't have some of the movies that we have on our list to be on the top. So Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Don't get scared now. We're going right into it. But first, before we get to our top 5, let's talk about overrated and some honorable mentions. So let's go overrated first. What would you say is a Christmas movie out there that everyone loves? It's prestigious and you're like, screw that, it's overrated.
A Christmas Story. That's easy. I don't even think everybody loves it. I mean, I'd had to recap it and everything like that because I've watched that thing once. Not one time did I laugh. Did you laugh at it at all? How many times have you watched it?
I've watched it in its entirety maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't think it's overrated because it was made back in the 60s and it's
40s.
It's a
40s.
It was made in the 40s?
It was 1940s.
No, it's based on the 40s, but wasn't made in the 40s. It was made in like the 60s.
I thought it was in. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
It's based on the 40s, but it was filmed in like the 60s or whatever.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
It's an old movie. For me, it's a timeless classic, and it's a story that you could relate to even today. So I appreciate it, but you think it's overrated? I know a lot of people who think it's overrated.
I'm sorry, but the narrating guy, I know it's him narrating him as a kid. It was just annoying. It was just one of the most annoying voices. It definitely didn't have the Tom Selleck narrating voice, or what's that guy, the James Earl Jones. It didn't have that solid narrating voice for me. It was just pretty nasally and annoying for me. I didn't like it. So a lot of people liked it. I know that, but I mean, I think a lot more people kind of felt it overrated. I'm on that bandwagon.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think it's overrated. I like it, but it's not one I could watch. Like I can't sit down and watch the whole movie.
Yeah.
But there are two scenes in that movie that are quintessential to my Christmas. And that's the mall scene. I always have to watch the mall scene where he goes to ask Santa for the BB gun. That scene used to scare the shit out of me as a kid. And then also I like the ending, the Christmas Day when they're opening presents. Yeah. And then they have to go to the Chinese restaurant because their Christmas ham was eaten by dogs. And then you got the whole ending. Like, I like the ending. So there's two scenes that I have to watch. Yeah. And then I always conveniently catch, like, I know it's on TV all day. I always catch those two scenes. So I'm with you. It's not a movie I would watch on a Christmas day. It wouldn't be my first choice at all.
The only reason I watched that movie is because I just had to figure out what this Christmas lamp thing was about. You see it everywhere you go. Everybody talks about the little Christmas lamp. I see it in like department stores, like little variations
with the leg, with the nice long leg.
I thought the Christmas Story was about the leg. I thought it was about the Christmas leg lamp. And when I finally watched it, I was like, where the hell's the leg lamp? And it was like such a mini subplot about it.
If you were watching A Christmas Story just for the origin story of the leg lamp, you're going to be massively disappointed because that only takes place in literally the last 30 minutes. So
but when you think of Christmas Story, what is, what's the one picture that comes out? It's the leg lamp.
For me, when I think of Christmas Story, I always think of the kid getting his tongue stuck on the pole.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Because Dumb and Dumber copied it. So I always think like, okay, they copied it from A Christmas Story. I don't think of the leg lamp. That's not the first thing.
That's the only thing I think of, only because I see it everywhere. It's like when people talk about the Christmas Story, it's a leg lamp. So I finally had to watch it because I thought it was about the leg lamp. I was like, what's all this leg lamp thing all about? Yeah, just like you said, I was massively disappointed. I was like, wow, that's
Yeah.
like
So
me
yeah, if that
subplot.
was you, if you're into that leg lamp, yeah, you're gonna be disappointed. So
Yeah.
that's your most overrated. I really don't
Yes.
have a most overrated. For me, it would probably be a movie I just watched recently. That'd be The Family Man with Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
Some people regard that as a classic. Oh, it's a great drama. Nicolas Cage is great in it, and he is great in it. But I had the same impression when I watched it recently.
Hmm.
I love the first like 30, 40 minutes when he gets transported into his in this life that
Oh,
wasn't his.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
and then after that, I lose interest and get bored. So yeah, that would
That's
be
probably that's like a variation of the It's a Wonderful Life.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
but he gets to live like that life for like a
Yeah.
week or two. That's like the
Yeah.
difference of it.
Yeah.
It's like a
I like the Wonder
variation.
Life. Did you see A Wonderful Life? It's not on my list, but have you seen it?
The black and white old
Yeah.
version.
Yeah.
I know the story. I know the synopsis and the meaning of it,
Hmm.
but no, I haven't. I don't think I've ever seen A Wonderful Life in its entirety either.
Okay. I liked it. It's not on my list, but I liked it. It's good. It's actually number one on a lot of major websites lists as the number one movie. And I'm glad to say that I watched A Wonderful Life a day after I watched A Christmas Story, which made me forget how bad The Christmas Story was.
Wow,
So that's what I'm going with.
really hating on the Christmas Story.
I am. I have
All
to.
right.
Only because people love it so much. So
Okay, so there you go. So you want to mention any honor or other honorable mentions? You just mentioned A Wonderful Life. Any other?
yeah.
We'll just get the honorable mentions here.
Yeah. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
No, you just went for
Oh,
with A Wonderful Life. What else you got?
okay. My honorable mention. I know I am one of this, but I'm gonna pay homage to my fanboy for Ryan Reynolds and rom coms. So it's based in a Christmas setting. It's called Just Friends. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart, Anna Faris kills it in this movie. If you've never seen it, it's actually a really good movie. It's a good comedy movie, and it's based around Christmas time. So that's gonna
Is that the one
qualify it
where
for
he's like
me.
in a fat suit for like
Yeah,
half
he's
the
a
movie?
fat suit, and then he loses all that fat, and he tries to regain the girl that he was in love with in high school. It's a little rom com movie based around Christmas time. So I'm gonna just that's my honorable mention because again I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan and low key rom com fan. So yeah, I'll go with it. I have to mention that. No one else is gonna mention that movie. I'm pretty sure no one's gonna mention that movie in any list.
Yeah, you're probably 100%
Yeah,
right
yeah,
on
I'm
that
one of
because
one.
I think I've watched this movie back in the day and I don't even remember it being a Christmas movie. So yeah, you might
Yeah,
be the only one to mention Just Friends. But
yeah,
if that's one of your top Christmas movies,
yeah.
post down in the comment below. You got another
Shout out,
fan
Just
here.
Friends. I know there's people that's watched that movie. So
All right. So my honorable mention, I really wanted to put this movie on my list. I just wanted to switch it out for the sake of variety because I figured this movie might be in a lot of people's top five, and that's The Santa Claus,
mm-hmm.
starring the good old Tim Allen. It's a great story. Santa Claus accidentally dies. He inherits his powers. He gets to go to the North Pole. It's a fun story. And there's like two more sequels after that that I vaguely remember.
Yeah.
But if there's one movie that I wanted to put in my top five, but just couldn't, it would be The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
I
So,
like the Santa Claus. Yeah, you're right. I also wanted to add that in there, but
no, you don't
um,
have it in there. Okay.
I don't have that under. No, but it's I love it. It's really great. They got that new series out. If you haven't seen it either,
I
the new
might check it
series,
out.
yeah, the
They did
Santa
have the
Clauses.
elf Bernard in there, and the actor
Mm-hmm.
who plays him is like older than us now. So it's
Yeah,
like he looks
yeah,
it looks really awkward looking.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm gonna give that show a try.
yeah. They didn't do no CGI, Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman on them.
Yeah.
He definitely looks older.
They couldn't afford the de-age
Yeah.
the actor of Bernard
Yeah.
for the Santa Claus show.
The
So
one thing I can appreciate about the Santa Claus is like I do like all the sequels. I also do like the show that they have. They paid a lot of respect to making sure that the show also is well done to keep it moving forward. So yeah, I'll hand that one to you with the honorable mention on Santa Claus.
all right. So we got the overrated and the honorable mentions out of the way. Let's get right into the top five Christmas movies. At least our personal top five. I'll start it off. With number five. This is going to be the Just Friends of my list because I don't think
Mhm.
this movie gets enough mentions, or at least I don't see it. And that would be I'll Be Home for Christmas, starring the 90s heartthrob himself, JTT Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Where this
I've
is
never seen that movie.
You've never seen this one.
I've never seen the movie.
Okay. It's on Disney Plus. It's on
Okay.
my queue. I'm gonna watch it sometime this week. But pretty much, Jonathan Taylor Thomas is in California, and his dad really wants him to come home for Christmas. He's kind of a
Mhm.
dick about it. Would rather do something else. and he bribes him with like a Porsche. He's like, if you get here in time for Christmas, I'll give you the Porsche. And at the
Okay.
same time, he's trying to bang young Jessica Biel, which is always fun to watch. So Jessica Biel's in there. But
Nice.
on the way home, he gets pranked and he's stuck in like a Santa Claus suit. It's a great like road trip movie as well, because on his road trip, just like Santa, he starts to meet all these characters along the way and get into these crazy situations. Like he meets
Okay.
like a thief who him and this thief end up like donating presents to kids. He gets into a marathon. I mean, he gets into a lot of zany adventures, but I feel like I'll Be Home for Christmas is a great underrated classic. I'll start that off with my top five
Was
of
was he was he young at that time? I remember him
yeah,
from
this
what's that? What was that
Home
show? Home
Improvement.
Improvement. Was that
Yeah.
during that time when he was on Home Improvement? Were you
Yeah,
still
shout out to
a
Tim
kid?
Allen. So
Okay.
yeah, I think this
Yeah,
might be a little
there's a Santa Claus
after.
connection. Tim
Yeah,
Allen
there's a Santa
connection.
Claus connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Allen didn't make the list, but Jonathan Taylor Thomas did.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, I would say this is probably shortly after the Home Improvement run. I
Okay.
think this is like when he left Home Improvement to do other
Yeah.
things.
Okay.
So
All
yeah,
right. My number five. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at number five. Home Alone is number five for me. For me, it's a great movie. I love the movie. It's just played too much, and that's the only reason why I'll put it in the top five. Um, if we were doing top 10, it might be a little bit lower if I really thought about it and gave some more thought to it and everything. But I got to
like
give some
low or high
respect.
in the 10, like more to 10 or
Lower,
more.
lower towards the 10. Yeah, maybe,
Ooh, Home
maybe. But I
Alone.
feel like I'm disrespecting it by not if because we're only doing top five. If we did top 10, I'd probably bring it lower towards the 10 spot because, but I gotta
Yeesh.
give respect to it.
Okay,
I have
I'll
to give respect.
respect that.
I
I'll
have to
respect that.
respect Home Alone only because we're doing just the top five because I love it. It's a classic. It's an all time greatest film, not just Christmas movie, but a greatest film. But for me, it's a little played too much, and so that's the only reason. You when you see it too much, you kind of get sick of it.
Yeah, spoiler alert, Home Alone is on my list too. I won't reveal what spot, but you're
Okay.
starting Home Alone with your top five. You hate to
Yeah.
see it. You hate to
Yeah.
see it. All right, so let's
Okay.
get to
Number
number
four.
four.
Go for it.
Number four, I'll start it off again, and this would be something that's out of the realm of a traditional Christmas movie, although
Okay.
it's basically a Christmas movie because it takes place in Christmas. There's a lot of Christmas themes, but it is Gremlins. It is the very first Gremlins. I absolutely
Mm-hmm.
love this movie. I guess you would classify it as a horror movie because for being a PG-13 in the 80s, there's some
Mm.
grotesque things that happen in this movie. Like
Yeah.
there's a scene where one of the parents in this movie is fighting one of the gremlins and she sticks it in a microwave and you
Yeah. I love
see
that's classic.
the gremlin
It's
boil up and
classic.
explode.
Mm-hmm.
Like no child should watch that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love Gremlins. Yeah, this is a Christmas movie. This is 100% a Christmas movie, for God's sakes. I mean, you have a scene with like the Gremlins singing Christmas Carol songs,
Mm-hmm.
and like there's an old lady who's been in a bitch the whole film, and
Yeah.
they do some Christmas caroling at her house, and they override her stupid wheelchair that goes up the stairs, and she flies
Mm-hmm.
out of a window. So yeah, Gremlins is a great Christmas movie. I love the characters in it. You
Yeah.
got young, beautiful Phoebe Cates, who
Mm-hmm.
gives one of the most haunting monologues in the movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Firemen came and broke through the chimney top, and me and Mom were expecting them to pull out a dead cat or a bird, and instead they pulled out my father.
I can't remember the composer's
Mm-hmm.
name, but I love the musical score of the Gremlins. Everything about it, the practical effects. They just don't make movies like Gremlins nowadays.
Yeah.
And if
I
they
like.
ever remake Gremlins,
Mm.
if they don't use practical effects like the original, I'm not going to watch it because
Well,
it
they're
doesn't
not
get
going to use it.
it doesn't get
They'll-
any better than practical
Yeah.
effects.
It'd be all CGI'd out. But yeah,
Yeah.
I respect that. I like Gremlins. Gremlins is cool. I like the toys that came with it.
Yeah,
I like what was his name? The
Gizmo,
Gizmo.
Gizmo, cute
And
old
do you remember
adorable
Furby?
Gizmo.
They had a Furby toy that pretty much ripped off Gizmo.
Yeah, you're right.
Gizmo was awesome. That was an awesome toy to have that came with the movie and everything. Yeah, that is a Christmas movie. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I respect that. I like that.
All right.
Okay. For number four for me, I'm gonna go on the same path with you. It's a non-traditional. It's based on Christmas time. It's Edward Scissorhands.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
go with that. I like Edward Scissorhands. It's a Tim Burton classic. I think Tim Burton's got some low-key Christmas movies.
Yeah, he has
What do you think?
Nightmare on
Nightmare
Before Christmas. Yeah,
Batman Returns. Batman Returns
that's a
is
Christmas movie. You're right.
That's a Christmas movie. Yeah, it's so But out of the three of those, I think that's the only three that's kind of low key Christmas. I'm gonna go with Edward Scissorhands. It's Johnny
Okay.
Depp. Huge fan of Johnny Depp. Winona Ryder's there.
But
I
that
love.
takes a span like of over a year, isn't it? Because I remember there's like it
Mm-hmm.
leads up to Christmas because the
It
whole
leads up.
point of that movie was like the mom was trying to explain to whoever she's telling the story why it snows in that town.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing revolved around Edward Scissorhands or something like that.
Yes.
So
The climax was around Christmas time and all
yeah,
that
the
stuff.
climax turned into Christmas time. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, which makes
Okay.
it qualifies as a Christmas movie.
Hey, you
I'm
know
gonna
what?
go with it.
I told
like
the
it.
rules earlier. Anything goes. Anything goes. So okay, Edward Scissorhands.
I
You
like
don't hear
Edward's.
that every
Yeah,
day.
I
It's
love
that's
it.
a movie I need to rewatch. It's been a good minute since I watched Edward
It's
Scissorhands,
great.
but that's
You
a
know,
movie.
with the dogs and the shaving. And I do like that climax where he's up there just shaving away the ice, you know, and just that's the reason why it's snowing. You got Winona Ryder like doing the spinning around the thing, the road, and just enjoying the shaved ice coming down. So yeah, I'm going with Edward Scissorhands as my number 4.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, all right. So we're on to 3 now. We're breezing
Mhm.
through this list. We're on to 3. I think this is where it's about to feel very familiar when it comes
Okay.
to top Christmas movies. And I think on my list, let's see. Okay, yep. For number 3, I have the timeless classic starring Arnold himself, Jingle All the Way, a Chris Columbus Christmas classic.
Mhm.
I mean, you got Arnold, you got Sinbad. What else? You got Phil Hartman, who, man,
Yeah.
God bless Phil Hartman, dude.
Yeah.
Every time I watch Jingle All the Way, it makes me miss Phil Hartman
Yeah.
because he passed away way too soon. And
Mhm.
man, was he a joy to watch in this movie as well. But yeah, Arnold, so many great lines. Put the cookie down.
Mhm.
I'm not
I
a
love that.
pervert. I'm just
I
trying to
love
get a
that.
Turbo Man doll.
Turbo Man doll. I love that. The
Yeah.
Turbo Man doll, which I'm surprised that there was no marketing for that, but I don't know how well the movie did. I'm not sure if that movie just went below the radar. I'm not sure how that went.
Yeah,
well in the
we don't have
office.
box office numbers for any of these movies we're mentioning, but I hope
Yeah.
Jingle All the Way killed it because
I don't think it did, but it's still
you
awesome.
don't think it did? I mean, how could it go wrong? You got Arnold, you got
I know.
Christmas. It's a great movie. I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many over the top moments. Arnold versus Sinbad. I mean, this is the movie where you see Arnold Schwarzenegger in his most vulnerable moments.
Mhm.
Like every movie, he's an action star, he's kicking ass. But in
Mhm.
this movie, he's getting his ass kicked for the majority of the time.
Yeah,
Getting his ass kicked by mom, by kids, by
the reindeer.
Sinbad.
The reindeer is kicking his ass.
The reindeer. He has
Yeah.
a one-on-one fight with the reindeer. So
Mhm.
yeah, I guess my only flaw with Jingle All the Way is like the ending, where it turns into a shitty superhero movie, where they
Okay.
dress up as Turbo Man and the other guy. They start fighting. Yeah, I really didn't like the ending. But other than that, Jingle All the Way, amazing movie.
Number 3 for me, again, another non-traditional. I'm going with Die Hard.
Oh,
going with Die Hard.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna
I'm
go
gonna
there.
do the Die Hard film. I mean,
You're
you
gonna go
can.
there.
It's a badass film. I got to go with Die Hard. You can't, you got to have a badass movie in there, and just kind of take away from all the traditional stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes when you're watching like Christmas movie after Christmas movie, you have to
Mhm.
throw a wrench in there that's kind of set in Christmas time.
Mhm.
And that kind of throws the pacing off because you're like, all right, I've watched the same old story. It's a successful dad who needs to
Mhm.
like learn the ways of Christmas. So he needs to be
Yes.
humbled or whatever. But yeah, you're going to put Die Hard in there, huh?
I am, man. You gotta shout out if you're gonna talk about Die Hard being a Christmas movie, you have to shout out Run DMC. The song. Do you remember the song from Run DMC?
I don't remember the song.
The Christmas song from Run DMC. John McClane steps into the limo and he talks to that limo driver. And he's got Run DMC just blasting through the speakers. Like, do you have any Christmas music? And he goes, "This is Christmas music." And it is probably one of the best Christmas musics out there. So you got to check that out. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Go, check it out and see what it is.
Yeah, we can't play it because we're going to get copyrighted. But
no.
shout out to Run DMC for what Dustin thinks is one of the greatest Christmas songs ever made.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I'm gonna have to listen to it. But yeah, you went there with Die Hard. There's been so many
Okay.
debates: is Die Hard a Christmas movie or whatever? Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? I mean, it takes place in Christmas time. There's Christmas references. I would like to have more Christmas in it. Like, I wish
Mhm.
instead of LA, maybe the movie took place in Chicago.
Yeah.
So you get that more snow setting. But I think the second one takes place in Chicago or whatever.
Something like that. I'm
So-
starting to realize that I like my Christmas movies that are like just take place around Christmas. It's not a
Yeah.
traditional Christmas thing.
Yeah, you're throwing some wrenches in here.
Yeah.
I'm going more traditional for my number 2 top Christmas movie, and that'd be
Yeah.
Elf, directed by Jon Favreau, starring Will Ferrell. I
Mhm.
mean, this is a timeless classic, a very newer timeless classic of Buddy the Elf story. It's like a great fish out of water story. He goes to explore New York. And Elf, the character himself, Buddy, he's a great character. He's an endearing character, but he's not like a useless character, right? Like he's very capable. He's dumb and naive to the world, but at the same time, like he's kind of a badass.
Yeah. Elf is not on my list.
Oh, wow.
If we were doing a top 10, it would have been my top 5.
Okay. I like it.
Actually, I would have had Elf over Home Alone. But I'm not trying to disrespect Home Alone, but I do like Elf. I really like it. I honestly think Will Ferrell at least should have had some sort of Oscar mention.
For Elf, for Buddy the Elf?
Yeah, I mean, come on, you can't. I'm on the same boat with Johnny Depp when Jack Sparrow, that type of thing. It's such a different character, and it's going to be a timeless character, and you can't really see anybody else playing Elf except Will Ferrell. So yeah, I like Elf. It's timeless. It's still pretty new to me,
but it feels very timeless because of the way Jon Favreau directed it. Just the way it looks, it has a very like 90s film like feel. It even has like homage to the old animation type Christmas movies. So
I mean, it's going to be up there with Home Alone being played all the time because of the way it feels.
Absolutely, yeah. And R.I.P. James Caan. I love James Caan in that movie too.
He was good.
Zoe Deschanel, great movies.
Yes.
So,
number 2 for me, it's a little bit older. It's with Mr. Bill Murray. It's Scrooged. I'm gonna go with Scrooged for number 2, because first of all, it's based off a timeless classic, a timeless Christmas. Ebenezer Scrooge and all that stuff. And then it's their version of it. If you haven't watched it, it was like I forgot what year it is. I know it's in the 80s that it came out.
It's Richard Donner too. Richard Donner directed it.
Yeah, and it's a little dark. It's very dark, very dark.
It's very dark comedy in there.
And from what I understand, I think it was supposed to be darker. I think it's supposed to be darker than what I think Bill Murray gave an interview. It was supposed to be darker than what they had planned, and then but they put a little bit of humor and lightness into it. But it's a great version of the Ebenezer Scrooge story. So he
doesn't play Scrooge in it, but it's a great take on the story.
Yeah, it's a great take on the story. Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and all that stuff. So I love the version, and again, it's a wrench into the traditional Christmas stories and everything like that. So I'm gonna go with Scrooge.
Oh, you know what? I was gonna put Scrooge in my top 5, but I was like, you know what? I'll give it to you for the sake of variety. And I completely forgot to mention Scrooge in my honorable mentions because it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And Scrooge. I didn't expect it to be that high in your list. So okay, I respect that for number 2. But yeah, Scrooge is one of my favorite Christmas movies. It would be in my top 5, but for the sake of variety, I wanted to go a little different. But Scrooge is always in my top 10 Christmas movies. Bill Murray, he's great. He ad-libbed most of his lines in that movie.
Yep.
Like you said, the humor is very dark. Yeah. And when I was little, like the movie would frighten me too, like the practical effects and a lot of the characters, like all the ghosts of the Christmas past.
Yeah.
Especially the cab driver. For some reason, he scared me as a kid.
The one scene was if spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, it's when he is I think underneath the sewer, and there was a guy who was a homeless man from he was in the shelter, and he sees him, he's just frozen stiff down there, and he's like getting mad. I'm like, why did you come down here? You should have been stuck up there. You would have been safe. And he's just frozen. He's a frozen statue. He froze to death. You don't really see that a lot in Christmas movies and all that stuff. So
Christmas movie. Yeah, Christmas movies back in the 80s, early 90s, they would show images that would frighten little kids, but they still slap that PG rating on there like nothing. So you got to respect it. And also one of my favorite parts of Scrooge is the ending where Bill Murray, it's the happy ending. He breaks the fourth wall and he's singing and they're like all singing, put a little love in your heart. And he's talking to the audience. That always puts a little warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart. And
I didn't like the ending.
You thought it was cheesy.
It was cheesy.
It was
such a dark
cheesy
comedy movie. It was like, and then all of a sudden they go into this musical. So it goes from a dark comedy to a musical. I was like, okay. So I can like it all the way up to the top, up to that.
Yeah, but you had to go a little lighthearted. For God's sake, he was about to be put into a furnace before he wakes up from his little trance or whatever. So, all right, Scrooge is your number 2. On to number 1. I'm going to give it back to you. I'm going to let you give out and let the people know what's your number one Christmas
All
movie.
right. Well, the number one is something you already mentioned, and it's number one for me, and that's Jingle All the Way as well. So I love it. We've already talked about it. It's my favorite movie all Christmas. I think it's underrated. Not that many people talk about it. So you made so many awesome points to it. The only thing that I wanted to mention was what was Rita Wilson? She said, "Do you remember Rita Wilson? She played the wife
Yeah.
For Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife in the movie." And it was funny how she said she hated that character of hers because at the end of at the end of that superhero fight, she's like, "Why was it that my character didn't recognize her own husband as Turbo Man?" She was like, she had to act surprised that Turbo Man was Arnold Schwarzenegger's husband. I was like, and it made me think about that movie the whole time. Now I'm like, oh man, she was right. I'm like, how does she not know that her husband is playing Turbo Man right now during that whole time? I mean, Arnold's voice is, you can't change it. So it's like, how could she
That
not
thick
know it?
Austrian voice.
Yes.
She didn't notice it was her
And he's
husband.
screaming it through that whole fight, like, Jamie, I'm coming to get you. Like that. I'm like, okay. So that kind of ruined it for me a little bit. But
that's the one part of the movie that suspended your disbelief was Rita Wilson not recognizing
because
Arnold.
she was so right about it. I was like, it was such fun. But then, that one little part where she's like, I'm like, yeah, you're right. How could you not know that was your husband? So that's the only part. But other than that, Jingle All the Way, as we talked about, my favorite movie all the time.
I think you were grasping for straws to find a reason to hate Jingle All the Way. If that
No,
was
I'm not. I was like, but when she mentioned that, it makes me think about it. I'm going, oh man, why'd you have to say that? Because it was like it was great. It was flawless for me.
Jingle All the Way. You can't go wrong. But like
Yeah.
I said, the ending, that like lame superhero fight.
Mhm.
I wish they would have went a different route. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Jingle All the Way. So many
Yeah.
classic scenes
Right.
in the warehouse fighting the Santa Clauses. He's fighting the Big Show, and he's
Yeah.
fighting Mini Me in there too.
Yes, James Belushi was in there. That was
James
awesome.
Belushi's in there. Yes.
Yes, I love that Christmas scene part. And they have the whole newspaper and all that stuff.
Yeah, if you look in retrospect, it's a group of like 36 shady men of all shapes and sizes and colors, and
Yeah.
they're running illegal toy selling black market business. That's their characters. If you look at it,
That's it. That's my number one.
your number one is Christmas, and the connected to mine, it's the King of Christmas again with a Chris Columbus movie, and mine would be, you know what, I'm going to cheat. It's my show. It's my rules. I'm going 2 movies for number one, and that would be Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2, both directed by Chris Columbus. I mean, and if you put a gun to my head and said you can only watch one Christmas movie and that's it, it would be, I'd be like 1 or 2. Give me 1 or 2 and that's it. But yeah, Home Alone
so
1.
you can't pick between 1 or 2?
If I had if you're putting a gun to my head and say pick one, I'll go with the original. I'll go with the original.
Right.
Even though I love the second one, I probably watched Home Alone 2 more than 1 because it takes place in New York. And I mean, I was like a little younger than Kevin McAllister when the movie came out. So, I mean, even when you're an adult, you could relate to Kevin McAllister's character. There's just some moments where family annoys you, especially if you're part of a big family and you just want to get away from them all. So Kevin McAllister is a pretty relatable character, no matter what age you are. You just want that time to yourself to do, all the fun things you want to do by yourself or whatever. But Kevin McAllister's awesome.
I like number 2 a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I also don't like it, if that makes sense. Number 1 was just so classic. It's amazing. Number 2 was great, and there's a lot more. There's a lot of last. What was his name? Tim
Curry's in there, and Rob Schneider.
I love Tim Curry and Rob Schneider. But there was also number 2 is also more commercialized. They had that Talk Boy,
the Walkman
yes. Talk Boy, and then
Visa,
yes.
credit card, yeah.
The credit card up in there. Trump Plaza was in there.
Yeah, good old Trump was in there himself.
Yeah, he was in
there.
He had to get a little bit of spotlight there.
Well, the thing about Home Alone 2, it's essentially the same movie as Home Alone.
Just more commercialized. 1. More commercialized, I think.
You're right. It's the same exact movie, just bigger, louder, more commercialized, but it still carries the overall same meaning because it's the same like overall message from the first movie. But I love it nonetheless.
Yeah, there's something about Home Alone too. I think it's a little bit bigger adventure.
I think it's New
So
York. It's definitely that old classy feeling of New York being that Christmas holiday that everyone wants to take. It was the allure of that New York. And plus, when you have a great character like Kevin McAllister
mhm,
exploring it, and then
yeah,
you throw in the great antagonist Kevin, played by Joe Pesci,
yeah.
and Daniel Sterling, Harry and Marv. They're so
For me, it
great.
was Tim Curry. I
Tim
love
Curry
Tim.
made it.
Tim
Yeah,
Curry is. I'm
he
such a
wasn't
Tim
in
Curry
it
fan.
enough in Home Alone 2,
Yeah,
but
but his what he did already. I mean, I'm such a Tim Curry fan. That like to me, that just takes it up to the top.
so yeah, I love the second one, but I would still go with the first overall. Like, okay,
Okay,
I'll pick the second one as a close first, but overall first, I'll go with the first Home Alone. I mean,
okay,
so many classic scenes. I mean, Catherine O'Hara, who plays Kevin's mom, she's great in it too.
yeah.
She has the classic yell when she screams Kevin's name. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Home Alone 1, so many great quotes. I mean, one of my favorites is Buzz, his brother. He's like one of
Yeah.
my favorite characters. He has like the
Mm-hmm.
best lines where he's like, Kevin, I wouldn't let you sleep in my room if you were growing on my ass. I
Yeah.
love that line, and the
Yeah.
reaction on Macaulay Culkin's face is classic.
I wouldn't let you sleep in my room if you were growing on my ass.
I mean, so many great one-liners, and yeah, Home Alone. I mean, it's a kid version of Die Hard. That's what it is. So
Okay. I don't even. I was well. Okay. Yeah, because he is going up against some people, and instead of guns and bullets, he's going with
yeah,
toys and all this. Okay.
yeah, he's doing.
I can see where that's going on with it. The kid version of Die Hard. All right. I'll give it that. Yeah, I do like Home Alone, the first one. It's great. Yeah, and I'll put it. I'll change my mind. I'll put it a smidge above Home Alone 2, only because Home Alone 2 is kind of pre-commercialized over
Okay.
that stuff. So all right, I like that. We'll go with that.
Yeah. All right. So those are our personal top 5 favorite Christmas movies. We threw a little wrenches in there just to switch it up. Because, like I said earlier, you can't watch like all wholesome Christmas movies every once in a while. Sometimes you want to see an action movie or a horror movie with Christmas themes, and there's nothing wrong with that as well. Whatever makes you happy and puts you in the Christmas spirit. So we gave you our top 5. Let us know what your top 5 is in the comment section down below. What do you think of ours? Yeah, so that's our list. Once again, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe to our channel as well for more videos from us. And to all you watching, have a Merry Christmas and a happy, safe holiday. See ya.